Hey everybody, it's Jim here, and this marks the beginning of a new project that I'm going to be working on with the guitar that's in this box, PRS SE CE-24. I've done a lot of mods in the past. I've built guitars pretty much from the ground up outside of one thing, which is the main reason I was interested in this model. We'll get more into that after we unbox this thing and see how it is out of the box. Candy. No Laffy Taffy. Not a good start. Oh! Laffy Taffy. I got 2 bags. You know, one thing I kind of take for granted. These guitars at least come with a gig bag. I don't think the players that are like more expensive than this, the player 2s rather, they do come with a gig bag at all. I think you have to buy one extra. And that's always a nice touch, but yeah, got this from Sweetwater. Part of the reasons I get these things from Sweetwater is because I can see exactly which guitar I'm getting. I know exactly how much I think it's going to weigh, and I prefer ones that have a little bit of a darker rosewood. That's not always the case, especially in this price bracket, but this feels good. It looks really good. It's kind of got a little bit more of a metallic thing going on than I had anticipated. No real flaws? Cool. There's one thing I want to test though before I plug this thing in, and that's the nut, because if there's one thing I worry about with SEs, it's the nut. That string comes out fine, no binding. Same with the A. D, whoa. Fine with the G. Hear that? Yep. When you hear that noise, basically what that's telling you is the slot isn't wide enough. Let me get the arm. But seriously, this is one of the most common issues you're going to find on guitars in this price range. And sometimes, even 3 times as much, I've experienced this. But knowing that they got this pretty much right, and the action is fairly low, sometimes I worry about that. But let me check the relief in the neck. Not bad. I tighten it a little bit, but this isn't a full demo. Basically what I want to do is get an idea for this guitar. How it feels, how I like it, and all that fun stuff. Let's tune it up and we'll get started. Ooh, volume pot has good resistance to it. I like that. All right, we'll start on the neck pickup. Gotta use a little bit more pressure. that tune. Yeah, that E string, man. I mean, to be fair, I am playing this guitar literally right out of the box, so it'd be a miracle if this thing stayed perfectly in tune. Overall, it's really good so far. Not going to do a full demo of this, but the first things that I noticed playing this guitar just straight away without adjusting anything on it. The fretwork is really good. It's really good. It's really smooth on the edges, but more importantly, on the actual fingerboard, it feels level. It doesn't feel like I have any frets that I'm really fighting with, and I'm trying to do a little bit of sliding because it's gonna really be obvious, and that's one of the tests I do use when I'm checking out a guitar and how it is. If I'm sliding and I'm feeling like I'm going over a train track on 1 or 2 frets, then I know it's an issue. And honestly, a guitar's around $500. I kind of expect 1 or 2 of those, but thus far, nothing really. The only other thing that really kind of interested me is not something that I don't think I'm going to experience much in practice with, but this. The way that the neck is jointed onto this guitar is different than on the United States version. On the United States version, it bolts into the body like here, so there isn't this like carve that you would find on other brands of guitars. So just the feel of it, and especially coming from the CE-22 that I just had as yesterday, as a matter of fact. This does feel a little bit different, but fret access at the higher frets, I don't make my money here. Not many people do, but it feels like you could still get there reasonably, even with relatively smaller hands. We'll play it a few more seconds, and then, finish up for today. This isn't meant to be a full sort of demo, so kind of lost. But it is a really bright guitar. That's the other thing I was going to say too. I think the pickups sound good, but they're super bright. And I have the treble on this is at 5, so it's right in the middle. Bass is also right at 5 too, so not something that's like tweaked to be bright, but Protein off. didn't really mess with the middle position too much. Split. Vibrato feels solid. Wrap up a little bit of accent. All right. Whoa. Really? The least you can do is tighten that a little bit. Anyways, that's my only real complaint with the guitar. This thing plays really, really well. I love the feel of the neck itself, the actual finish on it. It feels exactly like the American version. The neck profile is a little bit different to the American version, but they're similar enough. This one has a wide thin, and the American one has a pattern thin. The nut on this guitar, I was really trying to test it at the end there, pushing down on this thing pretty aggressively. I thought it did really good. It went back to tune pretty good. Let me know. Did you hear it go wildly out of tune? Maybe your ears work better than mine, but to me, I thought it was really, really, really solid. The tuners felt really good. I fast forwarded through that section when I was tuning the guitar because I wanted to make sure I mentioned it here at the end. But I saw a lot of people complain about these tuners, like they felt super loose, so I was expecting these to not feel so great. These are by no means like high-end Goto tuners, but they feel good, and obviously the guitar was holding in tune pretty well. I had a lot of fun playing with this, and I'm really, really excited to do a full review and then get this thing set up and dialed in exactly how I want it. And I think it's worth mentioning, I literally played this guitar straight out of the box, and I was able to do that. And that's one thing I really like about PRS in general, because I can't always say that with every brand, especially in this country. With Japan, yeah, I could say that. With this country, not so much. So I do appreciate that. So many people, 3 people actually on this one, got 3 little stamps of good job from the people at PRS. They really took their time to go over this, and outside of, this being a little bit loose, not the biggest deal, but I thought the guitar is great. Really bright pickups, but they sound good with gain. You could always dial things back a little bit, and honestly, I would prefer have a guitar that sounds a little bit bright, rather than a guitar that's fundamentally sounding a little bit dark. It's easier to kind of dial that back than it is to make a darker guitar come to life, so to speak. But I guess we'll get to the meat and potato of this, because I'll go over a little bit more about this guitar later on in the video where I do a full review, where we'll go over everything about this, including some of the neck dimensions and stuff like that. But I mentioned I wanted to make this a project guitar, and you're probably thinking, yeah, we're going to do the pickups, the electronics, vibrato system, tuners, all that fun stuff. I mean, maybe we'll do that. We'll have the opportunity to replace everything on this guitar, because the main appeal to this, and I'm kind of guessing myself here because in person this color is actually really nice. I want to learn how to refinish guitars. It's one thing I've never ever tried to do, and it's something that I have a lot of interest in. And I would love to be able to take guitars from scratch and build them, especially ones that aren't currently made by some other manufacturers. And it would make my life a lot easier if I knew how to paint the guitar. And considering the fact that, you know, I get this thing, this is under $500, and it's already a great guitar. So even if I totally botch the paint job up, I'm going to have a really nice instrument to play along with, and I'm not going to be ruining something that's so expensive that, you know, I'm going to feel terrible about myself doing that. So the fact that this does have a satin finish should come off pretty easy, and we'll be applying some nitrocellulose lacquer on top of it and some clears on top of that. Let me know what color you think I'm going to go with, or if you have a recommendation of a color you'd like to see on this thing, or potential, you know, cosmetic upgrades outside of that. But as a whole, just general first thoughts, I think this is a really solid guitar, and yeah, that's it. We'll save the rest for the next full review. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, comments, and or concerns, feel free to let me know in the comments section down below. But outside of that, I've been Jim, you've been you, and I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.